My name's Tony Dultz, and I'm on Two Playing Guys.
Yeah, welcome back everyone to another episode of Two Playing Guys. I'm Rick Buffkin.
I'm Adam Beach.
Today we are hanging out with retired
Senior Master Sergeant
Tony Dultz.
Tony Dultz. Tony, glad to have you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah, great. Well, we've been talking about this for quite some time, I think, you and I.
Yes, we have.
And excited to have you here. I know you got a lot of stories, a lot of military stories and some cool experiences. And, that's what this show's all about. So
We can't start without saying thank you for your service.
yeah, thank you for your service.
Oh, absolutely. In all seriousness now, to you and all of our military folks out there, past, present, future, we thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. How many years?
28 years.
28 years
28 years to the day.
in the Air Force.
Yep. Air Force.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, we will we'll get right into it. We got a lot of questions here, Tony. We want to know everything about you. We want to know like the background, where you came from, experiences. But let's start off with what are you doing today? What's your business right now?
So right now I am the general manager at Aviation Blade Services down in Kissimmee, Florida. We are part of First Aviation, a bigger parent company. So our specialty down at First Aviation Blade Services is UH-60 Blackhawk helicopter blades. So we are Part 145 MRO, basically servicing the UH-60 blades, tails, rotor, or tails and mains. And we service a lot of customers that are, we're a global company, basically. So we're in the Middle East. We are Latin America. We are out west doing fire support, up in Canada as well. A lot of our heavy lifting type head situations between the fire service, like I said, and also into some of the crane work, construction work as well. So it's a pretty big industry right now.
Blades only, correct?
Blades only. Yep. Really. So we don't even get the helicopters that come in. They will ship in the blades in a crate, and we take it from there.
The way I understand as far as your business and what you guys specifically do, like you are the go-to company for most operators, as far as blade overhauls and repairs and replacement, things like that.
That is correct. Yes. We got quite a big community, a lot of good customers, a lot of great support as well.
Yeah, great. Recently relocated to Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, we met and you were living in Colorado at the time, a couple of years ago. And that's where we kind of got to know each other a little bit. And it's been great. You've got an interesting story. I know you're into a lot of different things, including mountain biking.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, you're probably the only person from Colorado that likes to mountain bike, I'm sure. So
Gotta be.
yeah. Are you finding a lot of mountains down there in Kissimmee, Florida now to ride your bike?
Lives in Colorado, used to love to ski. Now he mountain bikes. Used to mountain bike. You're going the wrong way, bro.
I am absolutely. I'm doing it wrong for sure. It's funny. A lot of the mountain biking that I'm getting into down there are transfer stations. So they're old dumps that have now been capped, and the community are now rebuilding these into mountain bike parks. So it's pretty kind of interesting. So the smells are there.
It smells great, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps you going. It's a motivator to just push through it.
Kind of gives you a little terrain though to ride on. Yeah, I know it's huge out my way too, out in Utah. I got a lot of buddies that are just heavy into mountain biking. I love it.
We got real mountains.
Great sport, and there are mountains out there.
Yeah, but he's riding on the trash mountain.
Check them out.
Right. Yeah. Well, you got to take what you can get, I guess.
Yeah. It's a good community down there. Sorva, Orlando is one of the communities that I work with. We're a great group of people. I'm really trying to make Florida a good place to go in mountain bike. If you call it mountain biking, but it's a great experience. There's a lot of good racing that goes on down there for the road. Yeah.
It's got to be a great experience. 105 degrees on a smelly big pile of trash.
Yeah. Like I said, it keeps you going.
Yeah. Right. Well, good. Yeah. Jumping right into it, I want to talk about your military service. I've got a lot of questions. One of the coolest things that, in my opinion, that you've been involved with is that you were crew chief on the A-10 Warthogs, which, if you didn't know, it is my personal favorite airplane of all time, military airplane. Grew up my whole life, and I've got photos up in my house of it. I was out at Oshkosh this past year, and they had I think your old You'll fighter wing from Massachusetts. It came down.
So it was an airplane we had basically divested during a BRAC that happened in 2015. That airplane was actually selected as one of the first 5 airplanes to be transferred from the A-10A to an A-10C. Based off of the hours on the airplane, the maintenance background, it was selected to go forward as one of the test airplanes at the 420 Zygo out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, my initial experience with the A-10 was, I started out my aviation career in Southwest Michigan, in Battle Creek, and the Air National Guard had I don't know if I'm saying this right, was it a squadron of aircraft there that were based? So like every Thursday, Friday afternoon, we got a little mini air show. And to this day, an A-10 could be flying over, and I just know that sound of that engine. It's such a distinct sound. Unmistakable. But you mix that with its ruggedness and, what it can do in the field and the stories, the way it's supported ground troops. And I mean, you have to talk about that gun on the front of it, which we will a little bit, but that is a cool airplane that was built around a massive gun that's about the size of a Volkswagen, I think is what people compare it to. So
Is about right.
yeah, it's and that's the Gal. Tell me about that gun.
So it's the Galway Avenger. So it's a 7-barrel gun, fires at the 7 o'clock position. I think the capability is somewhere around 1,175 rounds in the barrel itself. So the shells stay with the airplane the entire time. There's nothing that pops out, the sides, whatever. So it goes right back into the drum. Fires at about 75 rounds a second.
Hence the Burt.
Hence the Burt.
The sound that breaks.
Yeah, which it's great. It's the initial firing, and then you get that recoil, which kind of brings that whole Burt together. So it's an awesome sound, and it never gets old. So I hear it, and I look around going, okay, where is it? It's got to be here somewhere. But the rate, if you look at whatever the math works out to be, at 75 rounds a second, it's usually about a 2-second burst that they're firing off. And I think that works out to be 3,300 rounds per minute or something like that. But you'll actually melt that gun before you can even just hold onto that trigger that long.
So you don't actually stall the airplane if you hold the trigger for too long.
I can't confirm it tonight. Having never been a pilot, I can't tell.
Melt the gun first.
You would melt the gun first.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an urban legend.
Yeah.
But, some people think that. I probably thought that at one time, but it's just a cool little tidbit.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a bit of smoke that comes off, from the firing. When the slats will fire at the same time, the pop up to allow more airflow into the motors. So I would suppose that there's got to be some at least knot or two that you're going to lose during that whole action. So
right. It's not going to fall out of the sky.
It's not going to fall out of the sky. It's not going to go backwards. Right. We do joke that you will get a burst strike from the back of that airplane.
They're not fast.
No, they're not fast.
All right.
But they're tough.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, they're tough. And, I think that it's true to say they were built for a purpose, and they accomplished that mission very, very well. Yep. Still operational today.
Yeah.
And we're talking 1970s technology here, right?
1974. I think mine was a 78, but they were dating back to 72 when they started doing the prototypes.
Yeah.
So they got that one dual cockpit that's been on display. It was only one, actually, there's 2 made, and one crashed, and the other one's on display. So yeah, it's a single seat, and it's a great airplane.
Yeah, I know. When I say that airplane's built around a gun, it truly is. Most people know this, but if you look at that plane, straight on, the nose gear is offset to the right of the aircraft.
Correct.
As we try to work around that gun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So it truly is that way. And when I was starting off in aviation, I had some buddies who worked, they were working at the Air National Guard base there, and they were working on the A-10s. And so I got a little behind the scenes conversation with them too on that. And it just had developed this infatuation for that airplane, man.
It's so in your hill. Yeah. It's the ugliest thing out there. I love it. But it's also the most attractive thing because it's so unique, and it's a tank. It really is. It's a flying tank. It's also a brick, but it's a tank. But yeah, you can't not like that airplane.
And some amazing stories too about, the capabilities of that to withstand, taking rounds, taking fire. I know we had talked about, Casey in her book, Flying in the Face of Fear.
Right.
Famous book. If you guys haven't read that book yet, it's awesome. And then you have to read it. Her recount of, taking fire in Louisiana. I think she had hydraulic system in the airplane. Landed that airplane, on mechanical power.
There's another lost half a wing or most of a wing or something.
Yeah, there's been quite a few that have getting out wings. The one from Battle Creek had half the aft shroud taken off as well.
Yeah, I think that famous picture back, was that like 2002 maybe?
2003.
Yeah,
And that had all the holes in it.
It's a famous picture, and what it basically is. I think it was in action. It was overseas in the Middle East, and they had taken a surface-to-air missile, if I remember correctly, to the right engine, and it basically took half the engine off.
Right.
And when that picture when it surfaced initially, being a kid from Battle Creek, we saw the picture, and then it said right on the side of that engine column what was left of it. You could see the rest of the Battle Creek with the state of Michigan, the mitten on there, and we were just like, yes, right? This is good. This is awesome for Battle Creek, So
Line of strength right there.
yeah, it is. But there's countless stories like that where those planes have been shot up, and they still make it home safe.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think that the early Gulf Wars really, that's where that airplane, it's like, hey, this thing really, really has a place. I mean, that thing really, it kicked some butt over.
Still to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, still to this day.
Yeah, they've gone through quite a few sections of wings, so they're constantly redoing the wings, which is basically extended its life. So Wing Station 23, I want to say, basically started to have some cracking they were noticing over time. So there was this big to do, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better term, with Congress to basically have these wings remade, strengthen them up, and extend the life of the A-10. So I think we're on like iteration number 3 of new wings on this airplane, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. So. And those engines too, we were talking about that before the show a little bit. That's a time-tested engine that's on there. That's actually used on some business jets.
Yep.
Today.
Yep. Still is. Yep.
And what is the engine on there again?
So we call it's the TF-34.
Yes.
And the thing is bulletproof. It's mostly high bypass. It's like 80% bypass. So you're just basically running out of fan for the most part.
Yeah. Basically the GE version of on the 604s.
Challengers. Yeah, I know the 600 series Challengers, I think, still use those.
Right. And I do get that confused in the air. Sometimes I'll hear the 604 come over and I go, oh no, it's not. But I got that very similar.
Yeah, it's very distinct. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it every time I see one, I spend time, and my wife, my kids, they know I nerd out about that airplane, and they're probably tired of hearing about it and things, but like I can't see them enough. Like you have to get up close to them and just like touch it.
Right.
Put your face right in the front of that gun in the front, take a look at it. It's rugged.
Oh yeah.
And it's my favorite.
When you went into the military, in the Air Force,
Right.
did you request aviation for your MOS, or did you test well for it, or how did you land in an A-10 squadron?
Strictly by accident. Okay. So I was in college. I had just lost my father. So growing up, my father used to take my sister and I to the airport to go watch airplanes take off and land. It was like our favorite pastime to do. After I lost him, we were going through some of his stuff at his house, and I found this T-shirt that said an A-10 on it. Massachusetts Air National Guard, A-10.
Military prior, or?
He was Army.
Okay.
Years before I was born, the whole thing. So there was some connection. My family's all been military. My grandfather was. One of my uncles were. My dad was. So there's some history behind it. But I had never really considered it. I was going to school for marketing and management, and I had friends that were in the Army doing Army Guard things. And they'd tell me, hey, I'm going to go to the barracks this weekend. We're going to sweep the floors and drive the Humvees. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. I don't want to go do that. Why would I waste my weekend to do that? I'd rather go do things as a 19, 20-year-old that we did. So when I saw this T-shirt, something kind of came over me. It was like, I need to go check this out because it's a much better option than going to the barracks and like I said, spending weekends doing Army things. So I went to the recruiters like 2 days later and I signed, I think that day or the day after. I had the option to either be a refueler, a weapons guy, an ammo guy, or a crew chief. And I had no idea what a crew chief was. I was like, it doesn't really tell me anything. And they were like, well, you can do the wavy hand things in front of the pilots and salute them. And you get to be around the airplanes a lot. I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do the hand signal things and talk to pilots because that's cool. But yeah, it was like this weekend thing where I'm just going to go join the military. And off I went. So I managed to get a full-time job there after basic, after tech school. And I almost lost the opportunity to be an A-10 crew chief. So while I was in basic training, they were supposed to do a transition from the A-10 over to the F-16 at the 104. So I was waiting in tech school for my school dates to start. And there was weeks that had gone by. And I'm like, when do I get to start my school? And they said, oh, by the way, we just talked to your recruiter back in Massachusetts. You're now going to F-16 school. And I was like, no, I don't want to go to F-16 school. I want to be an A-10 crew chief. So in and around the next couple of weeks, something happened. They made an agreement. They were going to extend our life as an A-10 wing. And they got me into A-10 school and off I went with that. And it was just an incredible experience. Yeah, years gone by, lots of great deployments, some amazing pilots that I've met, people that I'm very good friends with now to this day. And it's been quite a good change.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great friendships. Yeah, a lot. It's so similar to us too. And it resonates with me what you said, growing up as a kid and going out to the airport, watching the air shows and things. That's so many guests that come on here. It's my story, it's Rick's story, it's all of us. But there's always like something that starts you out with an interest in airplanes, aviation. And it happens a lot then.
I used to go on my bike to the air shows. I would just ride around and I had Westover, I had Barnes National Guard Base, I had the 103rd down at Bradley in Connecticut. So I was surrounded by these units. So I would just ride my bike around and walk around and didn't really talk to anybody. I just wanted to go and be part of it. And I think that's really where that really connected to when I saw this shirt. And then I remembered going back to these air shows. I'm like, I think there's something here for me.
I know you're partial to the A-10s because of how much time and blood and sweat and everything that you put into that plane.
Right.
Did you have an airplane growing up as a kid that was just like your favorite? That one that you just love? You're drawing pictures of it, and all those things.
It's actually funny because during dinner last night we were talking about trucks. So I was never an airplane kid growing up. Besides just going to the airport and looking at airplanes, I didn't really know what I was looking at.
Yeah, they were cool. But
they were cool, but I was like, all right, that's cool. I used to draw pictures of trucks, the big rigs. I used to, be able to draw your Peterbilts. I could draw a Mack truck, and I was obsessed with trying to drive a truck, and that's what I wanted to do. So it was kind of funny how you and I were talking about that it ties in. The two worlds kind of came apart or came together.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got on here too, F-15s. So we'll move up from the 10s to the F-15s. What'd you do there?
So I had a very short time as a crew chief with them. During that transition, I actually went into maintenance control once we transitioned from the A-10 to the F-15 during a BRAC situation. So they took the F-15s out of the Otis Air National Guard Base in Massachusetts at the Cape, and brought a lot of those the 15s here to Barnes. And I went into maintenance control as their senior controller down there. Learned about just how the scheduling went on and all the planning, maintenance planning. And I actually managed to get a position out at Red Flag in Nellis as the lead senior controller out there doing a red flag operation.
That's cool. Because only well, you've lived it. You ever seen that? Go to YouTube, I believe has it. They actually go out and it's us and all these countries. They go there and they have a big war.
Yeah. So they'll put together like a war situation scenario and they'll run the play. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. And they run it. There's a blue force and a red force. Your red force is your enemy basically. And your blue force is your friendlies.
Okay.
And it's a combination. It's 15s, 16s, F-117s.
Well, ground and everything. And
oh yeah, they do ground. So they do a capstone as well out there. So you can actually go and watch this whole thing come together. and it's absolutely amazing.
Where is this taking place at? Out in Nevada?
Yep. Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was a big, it's like a hour and a half, hour and 40 some minutes or so of Operation Red Flag or something like that.
Yeah.
You can find it. You can find it. It's really cool to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a 2-week exercise that goes on. They do, I think it's like 4 or 5 a year. They bring everybody in. Like I said, it's also multinational as well. So we get a chance to work with some of the other nations. It's a NATO thing.
So transitioning from your military service into the civilian world.
Right.
Talk to me about that a little bit. Like integrating into, you obviously have decades of military aircraft maintenance experience, leadership.
Right.
How does that translate over into 2020, 2021, especially with the world and everywhere we were in that, time frame? Talk to me about that a little bit. What did that look like for you?
Okay. So that transition was extremely rough. And I never thought it was going to be. I figured because I was mostly an Air National Guard guy for almost 30 years, I didn't really get the active duty experience per se, besides the deployments and things like that. So I figured I was just going to leave the airport and go to work locally. The transition out of the military to the civilian world was at times devastating because there was a certain expectation that you had in the military. And then coming to so I went to Collins Aerospace directly after the military, working for do satellites. So we were doing thermal controls for a satellite, and getting into a civilian world, there's a lot of military folks that are there, but trying to understand their timelines, the finance behind it, understanding that you now have a customer that you're working with that needs something from you. In the military, you had a customer and they needed something from you desperately, but it wasn't anything that they were paying for, if you know what I mean. So to understand, now I have to cater to a customer, and there's unions behind this now, and everyone has a job rather than the camaraderie of brotherhood, sisterhood of the military. You all just kind of work together and get it done. Now I have engineers that I have to work with. I have to work with planners that have certain roles and timelines. I actually at one point, about a year into my retirement, called my recruiter and I said, "Can I come back? Because I don't feel like I belong here. I want to go back and get into my military roles again. I want to get back." And I said, "Oh, should I come for friend shares?" Yeah, because we would go together on a weekend in the military. We would do things together. We'd go on trips together. It was like you had that family feeling. And coming into the corporate world, everyone went home at the end of the day. You couldn't get out that door fast enough. There was always a reason to not see you on the weekend, and I missed that. So I had a great team of people at Collins. So the team that I matched up with, they were wonderful, but I also missed that camaraderie of, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And my wife and family come over this weekend. Let's have a barbecue. And that's something that was just missing.
I totally get that. And that is actually such an important thing for everybody. I think a lot of our, listeners would agree with you on that rough transition out of the military into the civilian world. We know that that's a huge problem, and I think we need to do a better job of that, honestly. But a lot of I have no military experience. I was never in the military. My grandfather was in the Army, World War II vet. But I did see that when I came on into business aviation, how this is like the majority of the mechanics and, the people that were just working in this space were previously in the military. And it seems like that's a good pathway to get into, even though it may be difficult at times. It's a good pathway to get into because business aviation or maintenance or whatever part of aviation you're into, it's very much that way. Like we also build our own little brotherhood. We build a brotherhood. Doesn't matter if you're, doing sales and stuff like Rick and I, or if you're in the shop, if you're an A&P mechanic or whatever you may be doing.
Right.
You have your brotherhood that you can kind of lock onto and support each other, and people are going through the same types of things. So I definitely get that.
Yeah. Right. This industry it's so small, but it's so broad. And we were talking about this last night too. we know people 3 points, 6 points is Kevin Bacon kind of a situation where, somebody through a second person, or you've worked with somebody in the past at a different company. So there's no getting away from, the aviation, even if we tried to. Everyone knows each other. And that's what I love about aviation too, is we are so close and it matters and we take care of each other.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, it's true. We would say that it's like the biggest, littlest industry out there, but you do, and you will cross paths with people, down the road. Eventually, it's just bound to happen, and most of us know that. Yeah, most of us know that getting into it. But talk a little bit about your the leadership aspect of it. Now, certainly coming out of the military, going in the civilian world, you have a level of expectation running a shop in Florida. What does that look like today when you're hiring new technicians and you're training them and you're trying to get them up to speed? Like, what's that process look like?
So training for me is absolutely paramount. If you don't have the tools, the tech that over the training, you're not doing the job. You're not getting it done. And what I'm looking for right now, and I kind of find myself going back into my military life where everything has to be by the book. And if I don't see you basically progressing into this job, it might be time to find like a new life for you. And I know there's a huge A&P shortage right now. And getting the people to get interested into this field, I think is so important right now. There's jobs everywhere, and getting people to want to be a mechanic now is awful. It's really, really a hard time for people that want to come and do this, because there's so much other technology, but we need the A&Ps. We need the folks that really are talented in this. So I look for someone who has hand tool experience. I have someone who really can read a manual well and understand it, and who I know I can trust with my friends and my family and my brothers, we'll call them, that are flying these airplanes. If I don't see you as somebody that is going to care enough to do the right job, the right details, I don't want you in the industry. I don't know if that's the right word to say, a right way to say it, but we take care of each other. And those are my friends. Those are my family members on these airplanes. And every time that airplane takes off, there's a life on there. So I want people to understand that when you're maintaining something, when you're focused on the repair, that you keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, we call it passion around here. I mean, really, we do. I mean, aviation is, to your point, you need to have the technical background, the wrench, how to swing the wrench, how to read the mount, all that.
Right.
But you'll learn, or I have over 39 years, that person don't have that passion for being in this industry.
Right.
This is definitely not your industry.
Right.
Because you got to have, what you're trying to say, that passion, you got to have that drive. Because, I mean, as, I don't know if arrogance is the right word maybe to say, but
confidence.
We're not allowed to make mistakes.
Right.
We're really not.
Right.
I mean, do we? Yeah, but our mistakes are really amplified.
Right. Yeah.
Really amplified.
You can't pull over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And, it's, you're right. We do have a shortage, and we do have a mechanic problem, but we have a pilot problem, and we have air traffic control issues, and we have a lot of things in the industry. There's such tight tolerance for really no room for error.
Right. With a high pressure.
In what we do.
This is a pressure cooker industry.
It is. It is.
Which makes high work. It's high demand on quality. It's high demand. It's getting better. Employers are getting better. I mean, these airplanes don't make money sitting in a hangar.
Yes.
So it's a need to go, gotta have it, get it done safe, get it done on budget. And that's not for everybody. It's a lot of factors.
And the operators understand that too. Even, in the general business aviation world that we live in every day, the operators understand that, but there's still, you're right, that airplane, especially if you're talking about 135, operation, that airplane makes money when it flies, but it also has to go down for maintenance. And so you've got these factors that are constantly, pulling against each other. where you want it done safe, but you want it done as fast as possible and on budget and all of these different things, which equates to pressure.
Mhm.
And so, for me, I feel an obligation and responsibility to make sure that we're doing absolutely everything possible that we can to make sure we're giving the best, most high quality product back to the customer. However many levels of checks that you need to run through to make sure that, everything's been looked at, your quality guys, your QAs, the RII sign-offs, everything is where it needs to be.
Right.
But then also not overlooking like the technician, because it's pretty easy for us to just lay that pressure more and more and more on the technician,
Right.
and to say, demand more from them and say, yeah, I know we've worked the last, 22 days straight in a row, but we need to work this weekend too. And so, yeah. So I think that that's kind of like the service center, responsibility to say like, we're going to manage these guys, make sure that we're giving them time to decompress them on the belly. Otherwise you start causing some other issues.
Well, that balance.
Yeah, you got to have balance.
Right. I keep trying to remind people that nobody's coming over the hill in civilian aviation and corporate aviation. Nobody's coming over that requires you to work 17 days straight or 10 days straight, whatever it is. There's a way we can work around it, through proper expectations, through reasonable deadlines, through proper parts management, communication with your customers. Let them know what's happening as quickly as possible. Bad news fast. Hey, I've got a problem here. I'm working on it. I'm going to give you a deadline or an update in 2 days. Pick up the phone day 2. Here's where we're at right now. And I feel like as long as you are giving a customer a reasonable answer, that's not vague, but there's something that they can work with, they can go ahead and start making other arrangements for other aircraft, another AOG situation, moving around. There's ways that they can manage it. And I feel like that communication is the best way to manage any kind of an AOG situation or a part shortage situation. Give somebody an option. Here's what I can do. I'll try to make it better, but I can't fix it faster because we start to lose quality.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to start to my technician's going to make a mistake, and we're going to be farther on down the line. I'm going to tag on 3 more days to your repair because now I have to do it twice. So
yeah, but not at the expense of the quality side.
exactly.
And that's the key. Is clear communication, absolutely up front. As soon as there's a problem, communicate that there's a problem to the customer. He may not like it.
Yeah. No.
He likely will not like it, but he'd better off to tell him up front than to try and play it out and regroup and have worse news later.
Right. It'll surface. Yeah, it'll surface.
It'll resurface for sure. And also, you can't continue to compress that. You can't take a major issue with like a 2-week delay and then still try to get it done on time. And that's taking care of your people. And in this business that we're in, and I'm not just saying that the customer is not always right or whether that's right or wrong to say, but I am saying that, our people need to be a primary focus too, our employees. We need to be taking care of our employees and having good managers that manage the workload and, and to be able to identify signs when there's burnout happening or something, because that translates into problems.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it's a lose-lose because the employee either does one of 2 things. He either quits and gets out of the industry, or he leaves that facility or that employer and goes find another one. So either way, everybody's at that point is taking a hit, be it the employer, be it the customer, be it, whoever. So it's just not good but if you just, like you said, manage that expectation,
right.
Let them know, hey, up front, this deadline is unreasonable. Can't make it.
Right.
We'll, or if it's close, we'll do everything we can. We'll keep you updated. You might want to put a contingency plan together. Like you said, communication.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, the employees are owed that same respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they definitely are. And what you just said there too, I think that is probably part of our problem. That pressure cooker scenario is where we apply so much pressure to our employees. That could be part of the reason why we have this shortage. That could be why, some of these younger guys, especially guys and gals getting into the industry, they will come in, they'll work for a couple of years and they'll say, that's not really for me. Because it's just a lot of pressure, right? And so we need to do a better job on, finding ways that we can have that balance, where we're not overworking everybody. And us old guys have been doing this forever. We get callous to that, right? We say, like, well, we used to work, 16-hour days on a regular. Yeah. I mean, maybe we did do that.
Right.
But maybe that was
Best practice? Probably
not the best thing to do. Yeah. But we can't automatically just assume that we're going to require that from somebody else either. Right. And so if we've got a lot of problems, variables here that are all working against each other, it's like, let's start talking about solutions. Right. How can we bolster this up? How can we get young people interested in getting into aviation? My son, he's getting into it. He's 20. And he's a 20-year-old in 2026, and I was 20, 30 years ago. So it's like, it's a different time. Yeah. We need to understand who these young people are today and say, how can we make this a viable career path for them at Valley?
Yep.
You got boys, right?
I have 3. Yep. 3.
Yeah, 3 boys. What are the ages again?
Well, they're 22, 20, and 16.
And what are they doing?
Yeah.
Or I got 2 in college. One is at University of Hartford in Connecticut. The other one's at UConn. And I've got one that's in a sophomore year in high school.
Got a high schooler still.
Yeah.
Where they at? What they want to do?
So the oldest one is into music and film. Looks like the middle one is he wants to be a teacher, which I think we need a whole lot more of teachers. Yeah. So I love the fact that he wants to go do that. The youngest one, I still don't know yet where he's going to go, but he's a big basketball player. I guess he's doing some great things up there. The hardworking kids, they're all great kids. They're all hardworking, and I'm super proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm called the aviation bug, huh?
No, not yet.
No, yeah, we'll see.
I've got a nephew that I'm trying to kind of bring him over, but we'll see where he goes.
Yeah. And no, they're not talking military or anything with your military past. I would think maybe they would consider that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I feel like the military is not for everybody. I used to always say everybody should go to the military. Everyone should do some time. And the more that I'm looking at our military now, I feel like it's not for everybody. There's a certain group of people who it definitely is for. But there's also people that are super into other things that don't require military experience. So my tune has kind of changed on that, but I still feel like if there's an interest in it, absolutely pursue it, because there are so many jobs in the military that's not just working on airplanes. It's not just being security forces. There's all manner of other jobs that aren't even seen on a daily basis that make the mission work. And those folks, if you're a firefighter, your EOD, finance, whatever that job is, it's important, because at the end of the day, we're all doing the same job together. So we need everybody that has an interest in the military to come in and do the job and explore what those jobs are, because you just never know. I mean, logistics, shipping, all that stuff is super important. So
yeah, good people do forget that. They think, when you think military, you think Army tanks, soldiers with guns, and aircraft, be it fixed wing or regular wing.
Yeah. And you guys they're fighting, communication wars these days, on laptops and, satellites and whatnot. So you need all those people that are interested in it.
And I agree with that too. I think, you said it maybe is not for everybody. And we had covered that a little bit earlier too, where you said, it's better to identify, like, maybe you don't possess the skills to do this job well.
Right.
And you hate telling people that.
Sure.
Right. You hate telling anybody. You hate telling your kids, like, hey, maybe you're not cut out to play basketball.
Sure.
All those things. But you're kind of doing them also a disservice if you're encouraging them to do something that maybe they're not, they don't have the skills to do. Right. So it's better to give them bad news earlier than to get 5, 6, 7 years down a career path and say, well, yeah, it's probably not going to work out. Right. And that's when, you start looking back, like, how do we recruit these kids, or what do you look for with young people to get them into this business and know that at least they have the skills to be successful? I've always been that kind of guy. It's not like, if you come with a lot of previous aviation experience, that's great. If you could find that out there and that person, snatch them up. Absolutely. But it was always the young people that came to me and said, well, I grew up, working on engines. I rebuilt a truck with my dad when I was younger, and we used to always fix our motorcycles and snowmobiles. Like, okay, now you're saying the right things where okay, I know you have these skills at least, and you enjoy doing that. That's a lot of that. You can then shift that and kind of integrate that into what we do, and then start to lay down a foundation of skills for aircraft maintenance.
I tell you, I can't fix a car. I can't fix my bicycle, but I can fix an airplane.
Really?
And it's the funniest thing because, somebody will be like, oh, my car broke down. What do I look for? I'm like, I don't know. You look for the number to call the dealer. I'll get you that number.
And that's what we hope people do at us too, is they just call us. But
Exactly.
but yeah, I get that. But and outside of work and previously,
If he does what he knows.
yeah, I want to talk about that too. So you are an avid mountain biker. You talk to us about that. How did you get started mountain biking? When did that start?
So I started off as a kid. I used to race BMX. So it was always something we liked to do. I was a big sports fan all the time. I played football, I played baseball, I played track. But riding a bike was always a little extra special for me. So I joined up with a friend of mine who had a guy who owned a bike shop, and he sponsored us to go and ride BMX bikes for, probably a couple of years on Sundays. And that was a great time. I later got into motocross in my 20s as well. Had a really bad accident on my quad during a race. Broke my leg in a few places. Had some kids in the meantime. Kind of life got in the way of going to be a professional athlete that I was never going to become, but it's good. After I got divorced, I went right back to the bike. I needed something for my mental health to kind of right myself again. And the bike gave me that. I can go out and I can just beat myself up as badly as I want to for as many hours as possible until I just can't pedal anymore.
Just work out all the problems of the week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like magnetism. You just want to do all the bad things just to make it hurt, and So that's what gave me the feeling of this is my release. This is my mental health right here. Because at the time we still weren't talking a lot about mental health and people going to therapy. It was always like this. You shouldn't go to therapy because they're going to think you're crazy and all these things, and you're going to go talk to the talking doctor and all these things. But so the bike kind of gave me the talking doctor. I talked to my water therapy. I was having arguments with myself on my bike. If it wasn't yelling at the next hill, why is there another hill in front of me? Why can't it be a downhill right now? I need that.
The bike was your couch.
It totally was. Yeah, absolutely. And it saved me on many occasions. Literally and physically saved me from doing some bad things. So I realized that I'm not like a really competitive cyclist. I am middle of the pack kind of a guy. I will be happy to finish the race last as long as I finished, because it's me against me. It's not me against somebody else that I'm racing. I'm not trying to win these races. I just want to prove to myself at 53 that I can still get out there and I can still make it happen. I can go do hard things through the mountains of Colorado, wherever I'm at. That's what makes me most happy. And the more that I'm realizing the community that's in cycling, it kind of translates back to the military, because we will push each other to be better than the last race, better than the last ride. We'll encourage each other when you're feeling like garbage out on the trail. Somebody will come over and pick you up. Hey, get on my wheel for a minute, take a break, here, have something to drink, just keep going. And that's what that's how it translates for me. And I think not really thinking about that much in the past, now it kind of comes to light that is something I was missing once I left the military. Was I need that group of people that I can call on a Saturday morning and go, hey, let's go for a ride. Or if I just feel like just being by myself, I get on my bike and I go and just pedal until I can't anymore. And it's such a relief.
You still doing it competitively, racing once in a while? Or
I show up to the events.
Yeah.
We'll call it that. Again, I'm not there to win. I'm there just to be able to compete and be with the people. Yes, I'm getting better at it. I'm like in the middle of the pack, but I'm constantly training for it. So I do train. I've got two races this summer out in Colorado. be heading back out there to do some of those events. But I'm in a series right now in Florida. It's a 5-week series, time trial kind of a thing. So, but there's always something going on.
I love it. Your race. What's the length? I mean, is it a little track or is it across the mountain range or what?
So the one I'm doing right now, it's a time trial. So we're under a mile, but it's as hard as fast as you can go for about a minute and a half. And then the ones this summer one's a 50-mile race, mountain bike,
50.
and then the other one is 100. So if I do well on the 50, getting a little razor, you hung out on the bike. Yeah.
No, I said I'll be in the Jeep. Did you hear that? I will be in the Jeep.
Okay, that sounds better too.
And it's such a great event too, because there's hundreds of people, thousands of people that come out and do this. And again, it's all about being with the people and pushing each other to do better, to go faster, to go farther.
I love that part of it. There's a lot of life lessons in what you just said right there. I think it's, you show up not to necessarily be the best one there that day, but to be the best you can be that day, right? While you have this network of just positivity around you, people that are pushing you to do better. And yeah, it's not that it's not competition, because I do like competition. I think it's helpful and valuable, but it's people who are supportive of other people doing the best that they can. And that's an important part of it too. And again, I'm not a biker. However, I have a lot of friends that have done it for a long time, and they've said similar things to me over the years, that like what you said here, where as good as you think you are out there, don't get a big head, because you'll be going up that hill and thinking you're just killing it. And then this guy or gal who's 15 years your senior will just blow right on past you. There's always somebody better out there.
I liked what he said though. And I try to keep myself in shape. Don't look like it, but I do. But he's like, it's just me on my bike. It's just me against me. That's what a lot of people need to understand. Just do something and just let it be you against you.
Right.
It ain't, that's a competition of yourself, Okay, so I did this 5 miles or whatever in however many minutes. I want to trim 30 seconds off of it. Now I want to trim a minute off of it. Yeah. But I think, nowadays people put so much pressure on themselves because, well, I've got to beat you. You're younger than me, so I can't let you beat me. So, whereas just get on it and let it be you against you. I think that's perfectly healthy.
That's true. Good looking at it. Yeah. And I have a good buddy whose wife is, she's an avid runner. And it's a great friend of mine. And I don't know how many marathons she's run. I don't know, like 50 or 60 or something. And I was like, what do you have to prove at this point? And it's kind of the same as what you described. It's good for mental health, good for mental clarity. And she just wants to be getting better, herself. It's not about going out there and trying to win a medal or anything like that. But for yourself, that having that physical outlet where you can go out there and just clear the head and do those types of things, going back to like what we do, and we're all under an extreme amount of pressure all the time in the industry that we work in. You need that outlet. Yeah. So you need those kinds of outlets so you can just go there.
Realize that. So like, I like to strength train. That's what I like to do. I don't know what you do when you're riding, but I would imagine you wear probably a helmet, maybe some head. But when I go to the gym, I just love to put my headset in, tune everything and everybody else.
It's just you time.
And it's just me. And so if I'm able to push 5 pounds more than I did 2 weeks ago, then you know what? I won. And at the same time, I blew off some steam. I'm good. I feel good about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
A lot of people get wrapped up into the Strava. I did this section faster than you. I'm going for the KOM and going for all the things. But at the end of the day, it's basically how are you pushing yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? Really is what it comes down to. Because I think in this industry, we are so, like you said, we are so wrapped up. They're under so much stress. And now everyone is watching what we do. Everybody in the world is watching what's happening in aviation. We have an incident, you got an accident, you've got, you hear about a gear up landing somewhere. We go and we first look at the mechanic. And nobody looks at the process of what happened, what was the GM doing, what was the DOM doing, what was the quality guy doing,
contributing factors.
Yeah, and then we all look at the mechanic. Was it
you messed up?
Yeah, exactly. So I think being able to really come back and take care of ourselves. So we walk into the shop on Monday morning, we're fresh. We've taken care of ourselves. We can get back into, you look at what you're doing that you did on Friday, and you look at it on Monday, and you go, what was I thinking? Where was I at in this process? Why did I put this together this way? Or, what was happening on a Friday? And it's scary to look at that, because you can critique yourself and go, oh my God, I can't believe I almost put this back together in this way.
But you've had that 2 days to step back, decompress, clear your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you don't sit with a bottle on a Friday and Saturday night, you come back and you're a little less clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're being active or whatever your hobby is that puts you back in a good position on a Monday morning, that's what you need to be doing.
Absolutely.
It can be video games, whatever it is. I don't judge. It doesn't have to be you're out climbing mountains or whatever. Just do something,
Whatever works for you.
to reset yourself.
You do anything other than mountain bike? I mean,
I love to hike.
okay.
Yeah. Going not really much in Florida to be doing that with. I'm an avid skier, so I'll go out.
Yeah, you got to find some hobbies for your state that you live in.
Right.
Windsurfing or something around water, something like that.
So I've got a healthy fear of water in Florida. Anything inland water in Florida scares me. If it's not a gator, it's a snow.
It's not the boiler necessarily. Yeah, I got you.
I go out to the beach. I've been to the beach exactly once since I moved out there in, I think it was June, May, whatever it was. It's not been a long time. But I have been to the beach one time, and it was for about 10 minutes. And I was like, all right, I'm good. It rained, ruined my day.
Well, they only rained for like 2 minutes, probably.
Yeah, I was driving back and it was sunny out. So I was like, well, all right, whatever. Learned my lesson.
Yeah.
It's something that we need to keep in mind. I know you're a manager of people of a shop there in Florida. You're taking care of yourself. Obviously, we can hear, you're taking control of your mental clarity and everything, doing the right things. We hope everybody's doing that. But then you get into like your shop where you've got, 50 people, let's say, that are working in the shop. It's like, is everybody doing that when they come in? You take these big shops, and you got 500-600 people over the course of 3 or 4 different shifts. Now that, that maintenance event that you're in the middle of, you started it, and you're going to turn that over now and pass that work on and give a good account of where you are and what still needs to be done to somebody else. Are they taking care of themselves? And then it goes through a weekend, and the next thing you know, it's like there's a lot of hands that have touched this thing.
Right.
And I think that's what, that's what I think about the most in what we do every day here is I always go back to, are we taking care of the people? Are we taking care of our people right? Are you identifying those signs where, maybe somebody's got something going on at home? You don't know what's going on.
Right.
All you know is that you tell them to, check their business at the door and come in and be ready to work from here to here and Monday through Friday or whatever it is. And so we just really have to be able to look out for all of those things, because at the end of the day, it translates to quality and safety.
Right.
And if nothing resonates to, our listeners on this and our customers and people that we interact with every day, is that we are doing every single thing within our power to make sure that we deliver them a good and safe product at the end. No matter what the timeline is, no matter how mad I think you might get if I tell you we're extending for 3 days, know that we're doing this to give you a good and safe product back.
Right.
And that has to be the conversation.
It absolutely does. Yep.
It has to be the conversation always.
And it's never easy. It's not an easy thing, like you said earlier. It's like, I don't want to call you and tell you that we're extending.
You don't want to
your way.
disappoint people. Yeah. Nobody likes that.
I know full well when that airplane's on the ground, like we said, it makes zero money.
Yeah.
And I know you've got a client. I know you've got somewhere to be, and I'm holding you back from that. I don't like it either. But I would rather give you that quality product in 3 extra days than have it go to you and you send it back to me.
Yeah.
And now you're even more mad at me. So,
And now their further downtime's even more.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to retain a customer by doing the wrong things or not communicating because you're afraid of what they might say. 100%. And so, we definitely have to be communicating that message. And, I think as long as you're doing that, and you're giving them regular updates and timely updates, I think that's, what more can you expect?
Right.
We want to hit our downtimes. We want to exceed our downtimes always.
Mm-hmm.
But safety, quality, number one paramount in this industry. There's nothing that will, nothing can go up against that.
Yeah. So take care of your people.
Take care of your people.
Yeah, take care.
Number one.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, again, we've had you here by close to an hour. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule, out of your day. Again, thanks for your services. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you being here.
Give us a plug. Tell me, how can they get a hold of this biking group that you're with first?
So I belong down to Sorba, Orlando, but I'm also part of a community called From the Ground Up. So we're a nationwide group that was created by two amazing cyclists back during COVID, actually. And it's just kind of progressed into this massive community of riders that just want to see people on bikes. So
if somebody's in Central Florida and they love cycling and want to get connected with a group, they can find them on Instagram or
Instagram, Facebook. So there's they're on the socials there. And you can find me Tony Dultz at Instagram. I'm also on Facebook as well. I've got a YouTube channel, Tony D MTB. I do post on occasion there, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So I'm covering all the bases.
For all you A10 pilots out there, we want to talk to you too. So
Absolutely. If you're friends of Tony, give us
give us a shout, man.
or Tony's going to write you out one.
I could talk about that plane all day long. I could do a whole show on that. But Tony, thanks again for coming, man. We really appreciate you being here. Great time getting to know you. We'll get you back down to Florida.
Thanks to our listeners.
Yeah, thanks to our listeners. You can find us again always at Two Plane Guys on Instagram. You can find the show, if on Spotify, YouTube. Please follow, and
Subscribe.
Hit that like button.
hit that like button. That's what we like. All right, that's another one in the books, Rick.
Yep. 2 Plane Guys. We're out.
All right, see ya.